Hi everyone. Since it's the last week of our class, I thought I would take a moment to talk to you a little bit about the final portfolio. The final portfolio is really already assembled for most of you. You already have your Google site, you already have your reflective journals, and you already created a page where you could put your lesson plans and projects. The big trick is just to make sure you assemble everything together, and I want you to add one more page to your Google site. So let's make sure we go through a checklist of the things that I expect to see when you submit your Google site as your final portfolio. I expect to see 6 reflective journals. Now ideally you created a page that was in the announcements style on Google Sites, so you should be able to have 6 posts that are somewhat chronological so that you would have 6 at the top down through reflective journal number 1 at the bottom. If you didn't do that, please make sure that you have all 6 reflective journals as part of this assignment. The next page that most of you created when you made your original Google site was an About Me page. Just leave that one alone. Let's just leave that one in there the way that it is. The next page that most of you created was a page called Lesson Plans or Class Files or Projects. What I expect to see when I go in there is I'd like to see you put in your Google Lit Trip as well as your lesson plan, and if possible, if the lesson plan was done on the UEN website, if you would just include a link to the lesson plan. Now with the Kapoof book, there's nothing that we can link to, so I will just go in and check to make sure that you've done that in my grade book online. But the 2 things that you should be able to put in here is your lesson plan as well as your Google Lit Trip. So let's stick those in the lesson plans page or the projects page, whatever you called it. The last page that I'd like you to make is a new page just for this final project. It's a reflection page. What I'd like you to reflect on for your portfolio is the role that you feel technology should play in the classroom. And you can create that just as a basic page in Google Sites. Now if it's been a while for you and you can't remember how to create a new page, let me show you just again. You can come up to the top in your menus and click on the Create Page icon. It should be up there in the top right side of your screen. And you can make just a basic page and then name that your reflection on technology in the classroom. And we're just going to save that page. Okay, so we'll just save that to our list. Now notice that even though I've made this page, it's not showing up in my navigation bar. I'll just remind you how to do that one last time. I'm going to click on Edit Sidebar because I want to make sure this gets put in there. And over here under Navigation, I need to click Edit so that I can get this to be part of it. So I don't see it here, so I'm going to add a page just so that we can see. And it's going to ask me, well, what page do you want to add? And there it is, my reflection on technology in the classroom. And I'll say OK to that. And you can see it's now part of my list as soon as I click OK, and I'll save my changes. So if I come back out now to my Google site, you should see that I have my reflection as part of my final project. The reflection should just be about a 3 to 5 paragraph reflection on what you've learned in this class. A few of the things that you've seen that you feel like would help you as an outgoing teacher, ready to put technology to be part of your class. Some of the different projects that maybe you've worked on and some of the things that we've talked about in here, I'd like for you just to simply put those in and to make sure you include those in your portfolio. The only other things that are due as we go into the last week besides the portfolio, there's the reflective journal number 6 that's still due for all of you next week. If you haven't submitted any late assignments, they can still be submitted for half credit if you email them to me. Now it's probably too late for you to send them to me through UOnline, but any of those late assignments that you still want me to take a peek at, make sure that you send me an email. Also, if there are any assignments that you don't have a score for, make sure that you contact me. A lot of times what happens is I've gone through and I've graded all the assignments, and then you completed the assignment, but I never was really notified or we didn't communicate properly to make sure that that happened. And so please make sure you email me if you have an assignment that doesn't have a score that you've done. Last thing that's due for you this week is obviously this portfolio. Once you finish the portfolio, please make sure that you come up and you copy your URL for your Google site, and then you come back in and paste that into the portfolio assignment in WebCT. Now, if you're in the 6441 class, the one final thing that you have due is a second lesson plan. So for a lot of you, you did your lesson plan on either your Kerpoof or your Google Lit trip for your first lesson plan. If you're in 6441, I expect that you drop a little lesson plan very similar to the first one, only use the opposite project. So if you used Kerpoof in the first project, I expect that you drop a little lesson plan on your Google Lit trip in the second lesson plan. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact me. I should be available all week. I'm in my office, so if you need to drop by, it's MBH 205, or if you need to give me a call, feel free to do that or drop me an email. It's been fun to have a lot of you in class this semester, and it's been good to see how you've worked on these different projects. I appreciate all the work that you guys have done, and I hope that this class has been a successful one for you. Thanks for attending.